This is VFL Weekly Wrap for round 10. There's a lot to get through. There was a game Friday at Ipswich. Brisbane beat Essendon by 20 points. 18-11, 119 to 15-9, 99. Brisbane kicked 4 goals in the last 5 minutes of the game there to run over Essendon. Despite the loss, Essendon ruckman Vigo Vicentini had 58 hitouts. Now head to head, Brisbane lead Essendon 4-0, so Essendon still haven't beaten them in the VFL. Now games on Saturday. Bit of an upset here at NG Stadium. Richmond beat GWS by 12 points, 13-14, 92 to 12-8, 80. Nothing to write home about. Nothing stood out. Surprisingly, Richmond lead GWS head-to-head 3-0. Now, a game at Box Hill City Oval saw Collingwood beat Box Hill by 17 points, 11-12, 78 to 9-7, 61. Now, for the Hawks, Seamus Mitchell had 35 possessions, 12 marks, 1 goal. Sam Butler, 29 possessions, 11 tackles. Tom Mitchell, the former Brownlow medalist, for Collingwood, 29 possessions, 22 of them were handballs, 9 tackles, 9 clearances, 1 goal. Head-to-head is 10 all. Now, belting at Tramway Oval there, Casey beat the home team Sydney by 94 points, 24-11, 155 to 9-7, 61. Casey had 133 more possessions, 30 more inside 50s, 17 more clearances. The last quarter, Casey kicked 11 goals to nothing. Unbelievable. 7 Casey players kicked multiple goals. Interestingly, Sydney's 3 goal scorers all kicked 3 each. Casey leads Sydney head-to-head 5-0. A lot of one-sided head-to-heads. Look at this for a result at Carrara. Coburg belted Gold Coast by 88 points. 21-9, 135 to 7-5, 47. Coburg had 32 more inside 50s, 17 more clearances, 95 more possessions. The Suns laid 101 tackles. Coburg had 11 goal kickers. Jack Bytel is in great form, isn't he? 39 possessions, 9 clearances, and their ruckman Joe Furphy, watch out for this bloke, 66 hit-outs. He's just killing it. Well, Coburg are flying now. Not much can be said about the Suns. They are done. Game was Saturday night at Frankston Oval. Saw Frankston beat a plucky Sandy by 36 points, 15-10, 100 to 9-10, 64. Sandringham had 47 more hit-outs, 24 more clearances. And the man responsible for that was the ruckman Harry Boyd. 69 hit-outs, 10 clearances and a goal. His teammate Hugo Garcia, 35 possessions, 12 tackles, 11 clearances, 1 goal. The game came to light in the last quarter there. It was a pretty scrappy first 3 quarters. And game on Sunday, Point Jellybrand saw Williamstown beat Geelong by 26 points, 10-14, 74 to 6-12, 48. Very windy on Sunday. It's extra windy down there at Point Jellybrand. Now, Joel Fitzgerald for Williamstown, he's in brilliant form. 32 possessions, 16 marks. They took a lot of marks, Williamstown, in this game. Jack Greiser, 31 possessions, 11 marks. Luke Parks, 23 possessions, 15 marks. Finbar Dwyer, 26 possessions, 12 marks. Now, full forward, Brodie McLaughlin, who's been in very good form, he was off target. 1 goal, 5. That is the first time in 3 years that these two teams have played each other. Interesting. Now, I went to 2 games on the weekend. The first one was at Preston City Oval between Southport and the Northern Bull Ants. And the home team got annihilated. Southport easily winning by 103 points. 26-14, 170 to 10-7, 67. It was over at quarter time. Sharks kicked 9 goals 1 to 3-3 quarter time. But the Bull Ants got in the game. They kicked 4-2 to 3-6 in the second. Now, in the third quarter, the Sharks, 4 goals 5 to 2-2. Last quarter was just one-way street. This was horrible. The Sharks kicked 10 goals 2 to 1 goal. Look at the goal kickers. Hugh Dixon, 13 goals 2, 26 possessions, 15 marks, 10 of them were contested. He played 11 AFL games. He played 1 game for Fremantle and 10 for West Coast. And it's his second year at Southport. He just did what he wanted. I won't mention the other goal kickers, there's no point. And for the Bull Ants, Caleb Franks, John Jorgensen, and Caden Schreiber each kicked 2. The possessions, Jacob Dawson, 36 possessions, 12 clearances. Braden Crossley, 64 hitouts. I could have gone through half the team, but it's a waste of time. For the Bull Ants, Liam Coughlin, 21 possessions. Pat Fairley, 20 possessions, 10 clearances. The Sharks had 125 more possessions, 38 more inside 50s. Hitouts, 79 to 10. 71 more marks. Hugh Dixon kicked 5 goals in the first quarter, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, 4 in the last. Now, despite the good start, the Bull Ants actually got back into the game in the second quarter and probably half of the third quarter. And they were only 19 points down 8 minutes into the third quarter, but then they just fell away yet again. The Sharks kicked 13 goals in a row. Now, the Bull Ants have lost 3 games by over 100 points this year and another one by 99. The Sharks lead them head-to-head 4-0. It was a beautiful day on Saturday. No wind at all. And the crowd number, well, I can't put a number on it because it was terrible. They clearly didn't want to show up that day. And they missed down Hugh Dixon kicking a bag. Where do you go? Where did they go from here to Northern Bull Ants? Because that was pathetic. The Suns, top of the ladder now. They've got so much weapons. They're going to be a tough nut to crack. Now that 13 goal haul by Hugh Dixon, that is the most goals in the VFL this century, obviously. Last time we saw a bag of goals in the VFL was in 1997. Jack Aziz kicked 15 goals against Coburg one day. But we haven't had anything like that since. Sharks lead head-to-head 4-0. Still haven't lost to the Bull Ants. Now, on Sunday, I went to another game at North Port Oval between Port Melbourne and Werribee, the two powerhouses. Werribee got them by 8 points in the end. 7-7-49 to 5-11-41. No goals were kicked in the first quarter. It was a pathetic first quarter. Werribee led 3 points to 2. In the second quarter, Werribee 3 goals 2 to 2 behind. They both kicked 2 goals 2 in the third quarter. Port Melbourne 3 goals 5 to 2 in the last quarter. The major goal kickers, no one kicked more than 2 goals for Werribee. Don Brew, Harry Maguire 2 each. Ned Cahill 2 for the Borough. Now we'll look at the possessions. Don Brew, best on ground. I'll get to him in a moment. 30 possessions, 7 tackles, 13 clearances, 2 goals. Louis Pinnock, 29 possessions, 28 of them were kicks. Sam Uzzy, he was good in defence. He took 12 marks. For Port Melbourne, Charlie Lazaro, 25 possessions, 8 clearances. Tom Hurd, 24 possessions and a goal. Harvey Hooper, 23 possessions, 7 tackles. Now, it was windy. It was blown towards the Williamstown road end. It was probably worth 2 goals. The sun came out, but as I said, it was a bit windy. The crowd there was unbelievable. Excellent crowd for that game. Saw a very scrappy, defensive, pressurised match. Now, Port Melbourne were goalless in the first half. They were absolutely woeful. And their first goal didn't come till 11-minute mark of the third quarter. Werribee one of the best defensive teams in the league. And, don't forget, 2 of their players pulled out Port Melbourne. Their 2 forwards, Ferrant and their number 1 forward in Archie Manton. That definitely hurt them. But don't forget, Werribee lost 2 players during the week to the AFL draft. So, Zach Banch and anyway, now Werribee with 25 points up, 25 minutes in the third quarter, and it looked like it was all over. Port had the win in the first quarter, did nothing. Werribee used it, 3 goals to nothing. Port had the win in the third quarter. It was level. Port Melbourne got a goal just before 3-quarter time to bring the margin down. But against the win, Port Melbourne just dominated. 3 goals in the first 12 minutes of the game to take the lead. Mate, Werribee just came to a stop. It was unbelievable. Couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like they were possessed. No team after that scored for 12 minutes and then Don Brew took over. He kicked the goal in the 28th minute to take the lead and the seal 3 minutes later. Seriously, it was a Don Brew show. In the last 10 minutes, he had kicked those 2 clutch goals, tackles, always a one under the pack, clearances. Don't want to be disrespectful to the Werribee team and the players, but they didn't win that game. Don Brew won that game. Single-handedly. He's way too good for the VFL. He's got nothing to prove. How he's not listed on AFL team, that's a criminal offence. How's he not in the system right now? He's just too good. Incredible game. It was very low scoring, disappointing. But Werribee got the win. And that's the 3rd win in a row against the Borough there. 3 years in a row. I've said enough of that. Well, Port Melbourne lead head-to-head 32-25, so they still got them. The goal kickers, Hugh Dixon has matched Mitch Padaski now, 31 goals. Now, going through the ladder quickly. The Sharks are on top, 30 points. Box Hill, 28. GWS, Brisbane, Collingwood, Richmond, 24. North Melbourne, 22. Coburg, Footscray, Werribee, Frankston, Williamstown, 20. Casey, 18. There's 1 win separating 10 teams from 3rd to 12th. From Casey onwards, the rest of them, no chance. They're not making finals. Forget about it. They are done. Port Melbourne's done. Carlton's done. They're all done. Forget it. Now, there's 9 games. Next round, round 11. Now, there is 7 games on Saturday. GWS against the Northern Bull Ants. Richmond play Sydney. Brisbane play Williamstown. Werribee play North Melbourne. Coburg play Footscray. That's got to be matched around surely now. Box Hill against Frankston. The TV game. Collingwood against Casey at Whitten Oval at 7:10. 2 games on Sunday. Geelong at home against the Suns. Essendon play Carlton at Windy Hill. Port Melbourne, Sandringham, Southport. Those 3 teams have the bye. Very interesting round of football. A lot of one-sided scores. Let's hope it evens out next week. I'll see you next week.